I think almost every e-commerce merchant has read this statistic that Amazon said, where I can't remember exactly, but something like every second of load time that you have, you're losing X% of sales. It's one of those things which I think everybody just understands that website speed has to be fast, but it's I think it's the devil is in the details kind of thing where people just don't really know where to start, right? Like, is that been your experience as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a free tool, the Shopify Analyzer, on our website, and that is a good starting point for most people who, just like you say, don't really know what to do, don't know where to start. They know that their website speed is really slow. They know that they're getting knocked on all these tools, and they don't really understand, what's going on in the background. So that is one of the reasons we do that tool, and that's kind of one of the reasons that people come to us, is because they really just don't have any idea, and they'll try to go through some tutorials on how to make your site faster, and it
Mhm.
ends up messing things up. So yeah, it's very common for Shopify owners.
Yeah, and I think it tends to be one of those scary topics too, because almost everything you read when if you were if I you know if I were to launch a blog on website optimization, it's full of so much jargon that one I you know if I don't know how to code, I'm gonna end up being confused. And on the other point, I'm told that it's really important. And just like you said, the risk of messing up my quote unquote baby, the e-commerce site I've been putting my heart and soul into, that's a scary prospect, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's honestly why we usually stress finding an expert first, just so they can kind of tell you what you can do by yourself.
Hmm.
Little things like adding, image alt text and stuff like that. More complicated stuff tends to be easy to mess up. So we always advise to seek out an expert first, get a consultation, and then see what you're actually able to do afterwards.
Right. So, typically with optimization, you have this concept of low-hanging fruit, right? Like you have like these little things that you can do that can just dramatically improve things, and get to maybe 60% of the way, and then I guess you've got the more complex stuff that can like push you a little bit more. What are those things? Obviously, it depends on from client to client, but what are the sort of those common gotchas that you see clients making mistakes wise that can be fixed easily? Well,
Yeah. They'll add lazy loading to their website a lot of times and think that they did it right. And they're very proud of it because it works, and they install JavaScript, and then they go and test it on a tool, and they see 48 images flagged that you should be lazy loading. And they're like, I just installed it. What's going on?
mhm.
Um, in the Shopify, development themes, they kind of leave like the regular image tag with the source attribute in place. And that's something that you don't want to do with lazy loading. That's something that you actually aim to change.
Tell us a
So a
little
lot
bit
of
about what is lazy loading for those of the visitor or the viewers who don't know. Maybe just
yeah,
define that for us. That would be awesome.
yeah, absolutely. So normally when you go to a web page, you'll see all of the images kind of load up on the screen at once. What lazy loading does is it loads only those images that are necessary that the user is actually going to see. So, if you're the type of person to browse around, and only look at the top part of the page, the rest of the image content below the fold that doesn't actually, you don't actually see, none of that loads. So you have this perception of a faster site because things load as you need them versus all at once,
Mm.
and I think that's one of the really important things for people to have a consistent experience when they go to any page on your site. Lazy loading is something that ensures that every page loads pretty much the same assets that it needs, and it doesn't load all of the excess content like all of the images. As you browse around the site, those will pop up and start to load, but it does give the user a perception that the site is much faster.
Mhm.
And also for phones and anything that's going through an LTE connection, it does substantially drop the page weight, improves the page speed, and lessens the number of additional resources that you're loading. So that's one of the things that has the biggest impact to site speed, and that's a very common service that we deal with.